Welcome to the Ball In Podcast, where the ball is in our court. I am Pavana Naganti, and I'm here with
Eric Cabin.
Samuel Hoyt.
Why did this man struggle to say his name?
I didn't struggle. It was for dramatic effect.
Okay. Moving on. It is a fabulous Wednesday when you guys will be seeing this podcast.
What? No, it's not. No, it won't be.
Monday.
Yeah.
Monday.
2 days a week, baby.
You guys got 2 episodes this week.
Woo!
And I didn't even allow you to actually understand that. You know what, though? We'll get right into it. When we recorded this, 2 games of the Nuggets-Lakers series have happened.
Wad.
And a game of the Heat Celtics series has happened.
Ooh, wad.
But one event happened, and that was the draft lottery. The winners of the draft lottery, for sure, were the San Antonio Spurs, with getting the rights to draft
San
Victor
Antonio, man.
WEMBANYAMA. Sammy, do you have anything to say about San Antonio?
I don't have anything to say about San Antonio. Do you have anything to say about San Antonio?
I do have something to say about San Antonio.
yes,
There's some big old woman down there.
Oh, boy.
Wait, watches. We gotta go.
San Antonio.
Oh boy, going to San Antonio. All them big old women in San Antonio. Wait, watchers. We gotta go. Come on, we gotta go down to San Antonio. All them big old women down there.
He laughs harder every time he uses that.
Oh my, Weight Watchers. We gotta go. We gotta go. We gotta go. You guys thought I was gonna talk about Wemby, but I had to talk about
Wemby, more like
San Antonio.
women.
The churros. Oh my.
What?
Okay, we're not gonna go there. We're
I
not
was
gonna
going to
go there.
do the churro.
I did want to actually get into a serious
How would you
conversation.
eat churros and drink Shaq soda, Pavan?
No, that's
no,
another
no,
episode.
no.
That's another episode
Not
on
getting
another
canceled.
website. On another website. So, moving on.
How would I eat? Nah. We're not getting into that. We'll get into some serious
Ballin'
conversation. Okay, so the draft lottery happened earlier this week. The top 3 did not include the Houston Rockets, but it went San Antonio Spurs, Charlotte Hornets, and then the who was third? The Portland Trailblazers. The Portland Damian Lillards.
The Portland.
There's nothing else important.
No, there's nothing else.
Nike, I guess.
The
Air
Duck-
movie was good, by the way. I'm
Ducks
not
are
even
pretty
gonna
good.
lie to you. I watched it today.
Actually,
Pretty
the
good.
Ducks are in Eugene.
That's in Oregon. Eugene, Oregon.
Did you watch the Air
Not
movie?
Portland.
Did you watch the Air movie?
Huh?
Did you watch the Air movie?
No, I
It's
thought we were
already
watching it.
out.
I thought I was watching it with you, so I didn't watch it yet.
Yeah.
It's already out?
I watched it again.
No, I
It
didn't
was
know
on
this was out
Prime.
already.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
on
wow.
Prime.
No, you real friends.
It's pretty good. Okay, well, we're not here to talk about the Air movie. But yeah, I did want to talk about this. Victor's obviously gonna go number 1. Yeah, that is a very good bet, if that was a possible bet.
Is it a possible bet?
I do not know. I'm not a gambling addict like you, Samuel. But I'll go into this. Scoot Henderson might not go 2 because the Charlotte Hornets have a guard already in LaMelo Ball. But I wanted to ask you, Eric, where do you think Scoot could possibly go, if not at number 2?
I mean, I agree. If I'm the Hornets, I'm taking Brandon Miller, unless you've already, for some reason, given up on the LaMelo investment and want to ship him out of there. That's just like a hypothetical case. I see no reason for it, though. Even though they were pretty bad this year, there's other issues to address. LaMelo, I don't think he's a problem. So I'm taking Brandon Miller from the Hornets. And then I don't see Scoot falling outside the top 3, though. I think that top 3 of Wemby, Miller, and Scoot is pretty solidified compared to the rest of the prospects. So my prediction is that Scoot goes to the Blazers. And then what does this mean for the Blazers? I think it's a golden opportunity to finally trade Dame and start that true rebuild. Whether that'll happen with Dame's history of just staying in Portland, who knows? But similarly to how I wouldn't want LaMelo and Scoot on the same team, I don't want Dame and Scoot on the same team, at least while Dame still has years in him. So I think that would be a good segue to ship Dame out of there and start something new in Portland with Scoot. But, yeah.
The Hornets are in a really tough spot because I think almost any other year Scoot would be like by far the number 1 pick.
Oh, I think he'd be a runaway number 1.
I think he'd be runaway number 1 pick.
For
so
sure.
It's a really tough spot. It's hard to pass up on him, especially for a guy like Brandon Miller, who is a very questionable in terms of like his I don't know, like all the personal stuff that happened with him this season, and also like there's stuff coming out that he might not be in the best like shape or best basketball shape. But if I'm the Hornets, you have to take Scoot. We can figure out the logistics later. I just would not want to pass on this guy, who is like 6'5". He's a tank. I really like him. I like him a lot. Not more than Wemby, obviously, but I think he is any other year probably by far the number 1 pick, and it's not very close.
Yeah, I think the thing with Scoot too is I feel like he's a two-way player, and no matter how you look at it, I feel like he could potentially benefit any of those teams, even if you question the fit because he can't really shoot the ball. And if there's any weakness that you can really talk about, it's the fact that he can't really shoot well. When I like to look at players, though, I'm a big mechanics guy in terms of actually looking at a guy coming into the NBA, because in terms of the way NBA shooting staffs work, if a guy has good mechanics, that helps a lot. And I feel like a shot is something that can easily be fixable. We've seen guys that have came into the league and actually worked on their shot year in and year out. Even some of the great shooters. I saw Paul George talking about it on his podcast. He shot really bad early in his career from the three-point line, but he worked on it, and he's one of the better shooters in the NBA right now. And but yeah, like I think shooting is something that we worry about too much, which I can't understand because the game is pace, space, and shooting now.
Bars.
But yeah, bars.
Pace, space, and shooting.
Oh my God.
That's great from you.
I'm getting us out of here, bro. I'm getting us out of here. I'm gonna get us out of here, bro. You distracted me.
I complimented you.
This happens every single time.
Am I not allowed to compliment? Am I not allowed to appreciate a good bit of a good line when I hear it?
You're getting us out of where, Pavon? Do you want to dox yourself real quick?
Moving on. Moving on. What was I gonna say about Scoot, man?
I don't know. I was just trying to be.
I think Scoot, since his two-way potential is there, I think it doesn't matter where he goes. But I will say this, right? Charlotte has a guard. Portland has a guard. Detroit already has 2 guards in Ivy and Cade. You want to look at Orlando or Indiana. Like, they already have guards. So, like, I'm not saying he's going to slip, because I feel like teams are going to trade up if that possibility is there. But, I mean, it's going to be a tough fit no matter where he goes, because there are guards already that, you know, teams are willing to bet on. And, yeah, that's just going to be, like, really tough to whichever team he goes to. It's just going to be tough to try to fit him in and get him going. And especially with a talent like his, you would want him to flourish from the start and build your team around him. So that's going to be a lot of reconfiguring your roster and having a coach that from the start has to be like, Scoot is our guy. And he's going to be the center of everything we do moving forward.
I think if you're the Pistons, then he won't fall to the Pistons pick. But if you got a guy like Jaden Ivey, and no disrespect to Jaden Ivey whatsoever, he's a baller, I think you still got to take Scoot.
Even with Cade.
Even with Cade, even with Jaden Ivey.
That's fair. That is fair.
Yeah, he's such a good player. At what point do you just say, like, we'll figure it out later?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he still goes 2 or 3 for sure, like you said, Eric. But I just think no matter where he goes, fit is going to be in question because teams are going to have to reconfigure their roster. Now, granted, we have a lot of time before we see how teams' rosters are before the season, but yeah, that's really my concern with it.
Mm-hmm. Wad.
Moving on, though, we do have a great Western Conference Finals series, a heavyweight matchup between the bigs and deep and talented rosters on both sides. Eric, I'll honestly start with you. Just thoughts from Game 1 and 2 while Sammy's dead.
What? So these games, let me say, damn. These games, right? Despite some bad performances from the Lakers side, especially I'm talking to you, LeBron. I know you're watching.
He is not watching.
They've been pretty close. I mean, they lost by like 6 in Game 1 and 5 in Game 2 or something like that. but it's still looking not great from the Lakers. And while it isn't looking promising, I'm not ever betting against LeBron until he's so old that he can't run anymore. Like, I'm sorry. He's shown that he can come back from down 0-2. We know about the 3-1.
Oh my goodness.
They said he got his feelings hurt.
So like if he's sprinting,
What
you
can
want
I
bet on
say?
him? If he's speed walking, you want bet on him?
What?
That's debatable. That's
Jogging?
That's another topic.
What?
But if there's anyone to fix
Nordic walking.
if there's anyone
What?
to fix the
Crawling?
Nordic
What?
walking. If there's anyone to fix the way that they're performing in the playoffs in the blink of an eye, it's LeBron. This is a blink. It's a metaphorical blink.
The snap.
You're gone.
Wow. Wow.
Bye.
Sammy, any thoughts?
What are we talking about? Well, I'm not gonna lie, I lost my train of thought.
Nuggets, Lakers.
Nuggets, Lakers. Nikola Jokic, very good at basketball. Jamal Murray, 1/4 of a very good basketball. What is he? 5 for 17 first 3 quarters, and then like 6 for 7.
Oh yeah, he
Oh,
just went off.
okay.
It was
I
like
was
that
gonna say
Jason Tatum
elaborate,
Game
but-
6 performance against Philly.
I'm talking about game 2, obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's really tough for me to believe the Lakers are coming back from this. Like Eric said, it is LeBron, but you gotta close that game 2 out, man. Like it feels like they really had that one. You gotta close it out. I that was so upsetting to watch. Like as a Lakers believer, thanks to this fellow right here, it was just so difficult to watch because they really had that game in hand, and LeBron kind of in a way shot them out of it towards the end. But that's one you gotta have, and I think that might come back to bite him in the behind, if you will, going forward.
I'll just say this. I am on the same idea with Eric, on the fact that a series isn't over until it's over. It's 1st to 4, not 1st to 2.
Dude,
But I'll say this, right? I
this
feel
guy's more
like
than an athlete.
I'm not really the type of guy to go ahead and give teams credit for competing in basketball games. You got to close out basketball games, and you got to play a full 48 minutes, especially in the playoffs, especially in the conference finals with the finals berth on the line, right? But I will say this. The Lakers came as close as they possibly could in 2 games on the road in Denver. Game 1, I feel like they were coming back the whole entire way, and they still had a chance at the end. LeBron, for some reason, didn't drive on Jamal Murray, who had 5 fouls at the end of Game 1, which I thought was a questionable decision. Instead, he decided to pull up for a 3, which he is not a very good three-point shooter, especially in the 4th quarter. He's shown it all season, so I don't understand the reasoning behind the high volume of three-point attempts, but he is older, so I understand why he's more jumper-oriented at this stage of his career. But I did want to talk about this. Darvin Ham's adjustment at the end of Game 1 by putting Rui Hachimura on Nikola Jokic, and more so just harping on the idea of Anthony Davis as a roaming defender. What they were doing was they were having Anthony Davis on Aaron Gordon, and Anthony Davis was pretty much helping around the paint, especially with Gordon. He's a guy that you're willing to sag off of. And when Gordon was playing in the dunker spot, it even made it even easier for AD to help out and play against Nikola Jokic, leading to his 4th quarter struggle in Game 1. So going into Game 2, my idea was, what is Darvin Ham going to do? Because I don't know if you can just go ahead and keep Rui or whoever your 4 is on Nikola Jokic for the entirety of a game. With Nikola Jokic, he's so unstoppable. You got to give him different looks. You got to double him sometimes. You could even pressure him the second he brings up the ball. There's multiple things you have to do to stop a guy like that.
Once you double Jokic, I think that's recipe for disaster because he's so good at
I agree.
like his vision and his passing so good. Once you double him, it's too late. I feel like at that point. So that makes it even more difficult to decide what to do with him because he is so dominant with the ball in his hand. It's just it's really difficult to figure out.
The thing is, too, the hardest place to double from is the post, right? But the thing is, usually when you have a guy that is demanding a double team, whether that's a guard, a wing, or a center, usually you don't see a center getting doubled unless it's like a Shaq or an Embiid, like a very dominant force. But none of them can pass like Jokic.
Blood snuck Embiid in there. Anyway.
Regular season. Regular season. Does get doubled though.
Go on.
Does get doubled.
Guys like Shaq, Nick Claxton, guys like that. You got to double them, and that's my point. You just whatever.
Thomas Bryant. That's what got him shipped out. That's what got him shipped. Low GM in full effect. No, it's just so difficult to double him, like Sammy said, because he's got the vision, because he's 7 feet tall. He's got long arms, and then if you do double him, like he's got every pass in the book. He's got like a behind the back. He's got a normal pass.
Shuffle.
He's got. Also, I feel like people don't talk about how good of a shooter he is.
Yeah.
They ran a pin down for him. Like he was like a shooting guard, bro. I saw that in game 1. I was like, what? Also, I did want to mention this. I feel like half of these analysts haven't watched the Nuggets like for the past year, bro. Like, or even the year before. Because like everybody's like surprised that Nikola Jokic is playing this well, as if like he didn't play extremely well last year against Golden State.
Why he should have won the
But
MVP.
had Jeff Green starting, like he didn't have Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr. from the bubble year. Like he didn't have any of those guys. Like it's unbelievable. Like last year, he only had Aaron Gordon. He didn't have like any of the guys that he has now. No KCP, no Bruce Brown, no Jamal Murray, no MPJ. So it was hard to judge.
Bruce Brown.
But what I'm trying to say is, I still think the Lakers win the series. I'm gonna stick with 6. I think they're gonna win 4 straight from here on out.
You think they're taking?
Okay.
I think they're taking Game 5 in Denver. They've been undefeated at home throughout the playoffs. I think they get 4 straight. Maybe I'm giving the Lakers way too much credit here, but I think they win 2 straight. They get that momentum rolling into Denver. 4 straight. Give me 4 straight. Give me Lakers in 6.
I'm gonna roll with that. I'm gonna stick with my prediction. I'm not gonna back off, and I'm gonna roll with that same reasoning.
I'm sticking with mine, but I had Lakers in 7.
7, yeah.
So
I want this to go 7.
Obviously, I do too. It's great basketball. Both the games have been really good towards the end, at least. So far, it's a fun series. Fun basketball. Basketball's fun.
So on that note, though, Nikola Jokic, I've seen a lot of talks and topics that is he possibly the best player in basketball? So I'll give you 2 questions, Eric, and then Sammy, you can go ahead as well. Is Nikola Jokic the best player in basketball? And when is the right time to actually evaluate a player if he's the best player in basketball? Because that's also a key topic of conversation when it comes to this.
See, yeah, I didn't know you were going to ask that specific question, so I was going to answer the first question with that sort of thing. That it's just, like, almost impossible to me to evaluate that sort of stuff in the postseason just because of recency biases. But for Jokic, I'd say yes, he is the best player in basketball. I don't think that's a hot take. I mean, he has back-to-back MVPs the past 2 years to back that up. Probably should have been 3.
Definitely
if anything, I said this in a previous episode, but I think this year of any of the past 3 years was his most deserving of the MVP. I mean, literally the 1 seed. So I don't know. But, yeah, and a finals appearance on the brink as well for him. So, and just what he's doing on, I don't want to say both sides of the floor because he's not like a known defender, but just dominating on offense. It doesn't matter what he has to do. So, yeah, he is the best player in basketball, and I'm not scared to say that. That's yours. I don't have one.
Figure it out, dude. Take the label off or something.
Eric, just keep going, dude.
Let's go.
No, I was done. No, I was waiting.
Done.
Yeah,
it's him.
Oh no!
I was like,
Well, no, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't hear him finish because I was so enamored with you talking about whose water bottles whose.
Yeah, I finished before I answered your question about the water bottle.
that's why
That's
I
what
was
it
like,
was.
that's why I asked him.
That's what it
Because I
was.
thought he was
Okay.
done. And he was moving on to his.
I gotcha.
Like, I
I'm
was
catching
like,
what you're throwing.
Yeah. You didn't pick up anything. I was confused.
All right, let's start.
So is Jokic the best player in basketball right now?
Yes.
That's all you're giving me?
For that question, yeah.
What?
For that is he the best player in basketball? Yes. I don't think it's very close.
Is Nikola Jokic the best player in basketball?
I don't think it's particularly close right now.
I'm gonna say I don't have an answer to that. I
come
can't.
on.
How do you pick the best player in basketball in the middle of a conference final series?
Here's
Is
what
Jimmy Butler top 5 player all of a sudden?
Here's what I'll say.
We'll get to that point.
Here's what I'll say.
Like
what
I'm
I'll
just
say.
saying, like is Anthony Davis
Here's
a
how
top,
I would.
like a top 5 player?
Here's
'Cause,
how
like,
I would
he's
judge
played
that.
like that in the playoffs.
I'll tell you how I judge that. Consistency over multiple years. is the biggest thing for me. If you are good for one season and then like that's it. Like if so let's say there's a player, whoever it may be, whatever position, that had like an insane season. After that one season, is he automatically the best player in basketball?
No.
No. I think over multiple years, Jokic is stacked on 2, should have been 3 MVPs in a row now. I think he's done enough to prove himself and solidified himself as the best player in this league.
So you really got to earn that spot.
Not for sure. Not to say Giannis hasn't. I think he also is the only other one in that conversation in my mind right now. Not to say he hasn't, but I think Jokic has done enough to be considered the best in the league right now.
See, like,
So if you want my extended answer, that's what it is.
here's my thing though. Like, I guess Giannis lost in the first round. He was hurt for a couple of those games,
Again,
but like
I'm
is
thinking
it
long term.
Like, I'm still thinking like Giannis has done the same thing that you're talking about. LeBron arguably has done the same thing you're talking about. KD has arguably done the same
We're
thing you're
talking
talking
the
about.
best player in basketball right now.
Yeah, I'm
and in
just
the
saying.
last 3 years, Jokic should have won 3 MVPs. And
Yeah, I
I'm
guess that's
and I'm
fair.
not saying should have as in like, oh, he was in the running. No. He genuinely should have won it this year.
but
And I'm so confident in that.
guys have had great seasons though the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Great playoff
Yeah.
performances, right? Because when you're factoring in best player, you got to also talk about playoff performances. Like Steph Curry, even.
Nobody.
Like there are great players. It's just difficult to judge when Nikola Jokic is not even done with his playoff run yet. LeBron James still not even done with his playoff run yet.
One playoff run for me is not going to necessarily dictate who the best player in the league is. I think for me, Jokic has been the best player he's been the most all-around player in basketball for the last 3 years. He's been so good in so many aspects of the game. We mentioned his vision, his passing, his rebounding, his scoring. He does all these things at such a high level all at the same time. I think it's so hard to argue against Jokic being the best player in the league.
I guess that's fair. It's just hard for me to say in the middle of a playoff run when Nikola Jokic is still not finished. Like Steph Curry won the championship last year. Like you're telling me that didn't affect at all in terms of how you view him in the best player in the league conversation.
It obviously helps, but I think there's just I don't know. It's a really tough spot.
See what I'm saying? Though? It's tough to talk about.
It definitely
right
did
now.
in the moment because last year people were definitely like, "Is Curry the best player in the league?"
Can you still win a championship with Curry kind of thing too? Like people were still questioning that because the roster wasn't exactly great. People didn't know how Golden State was going to contend with.
I
some of these
think
teams,
regardless
so.
of what happens though throughout the rest of these playoffs, I think it is very easy to say that you can win a championship with Jokic. Even if they don't, I feel like it's very fair to say that.
That's fair.
Judging by what we've seen and how he plays the game, it's very fair to say that you can definitely win a championship with him. Even if he doesn't win a championship this season, I think it's very easy to say that you can most certainly win with him.
Yeah.
Without
There's
a
been
doubt.
some great players recently that you cannot say that about.
For sure. Joel Embiid.
Yeah. Joel Embiid.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, that's more so my thing. I just don't know how I'm supposed to judge right now. Like I still have Giannis as the best player in the league. No offense to Joker, but like how do I judge when he's still in the middle of a historic playoff run where he's getting triple doubles left and right? I think he's averaging a triple double now in the playoffs too.
That sounds right.
That's
That makes
crazy. Like, right? Like but like I can't say anything till he's done. I can't just go ahead and say Joker is the best player in the league when he still got a lot of games to play. Like
See, but I think the difference is you're kind of thinking not recency bias, but more recent, like this season, maybe last season. I'm thinking Jokic being that player for the last 3 seasons. What he does in the next, 6 to 10 games, however many
it won't affect anything.
I would say it wouldn't affect anything, but I don't think it would affect it so much to where it would change my mind.
Interesting.
I think because if we're being real here, I think the chances of him having a stinker for the rest of the playoffs is so low.
Yeah, it is very low.
And I think it's very and that's a part of it. I think the consistency and how you can trust him to get at least 16, 10, 11 a night. That's a big part of it as well for me.
Interesting. Talking about another great playoff matchup though, Heat Celtics, the Eastern Conference Finals matchup for this year. The Miami Heat stealing Game 1. Jimmy Butler putting on a heck of a performance. You could clearly see the Celtics and their inconsistencies these playoffs so far showing up in Game 1 with the third quarter run that the Heat had and then the fourth quarter just closing that game out. Eric, I did want to get your thoughts on this, though. Just thoughts about Game 1 and what you think about the Heat moving forward.
Yeah, the Celtics are such a confusing team, man. With those I don't understand. There are nights where I'm like, God, this team is unstoppable. Who's beating them? And then there are other nights where I'm like, their flaws are shining bright. The lights were too bright. You know what I'm saying? So
Jared Allen.
Lights were brighter than expected.
But yeah, no, it was a very well-deserved win from the Heat in Game 1. With that third quarter run, like you said, firing on all cylinders. Doesn't matter if you double Jimmy, he's getting that. They're making their shots. It was just a great balanced team win. I don't mean to be a box score guy, but I looked at the box score. It was Lowry 15 points, Love 15 points.
A lot of role
Max
players.
Strus 15 points, 15, 15, 15. I'm like,
That was a big point, I think, in game 1 is how many of the role players really stepped up for the Heat and how many didn't necessarily for the Celtics towards the second half.
That's
For
really
sure.
how their road wins have been too.
Mhm.
Not to cut you off or anything, but the
I
road
did the
wins
same thing.
especially. Yeah.
I think Max Strus in particular for me really impressed me in game 1. I was really impressed by him.
Yeah.
yeah, he made some good shots.
Going back
Yeah.
to you though,
He's gonna get a lot of money.
No, that was basically my rundown. That's all I really had to say. It'll be interesting to see though. I guess if I have to add one more thing, if the Heat can keep up that team play, I guess through these conference finals. Obviously they've gotten here, so I don't want to doubt them and not give them credit where credit's due. But the stage keeps getting bigger and bigger, so
The lights keep getting brighter and brighter.
the lights keep getting brighter and brighter. So we'll have to see how it goes for them, I guess.
You kind of mentioned it, but I think there really has been more or less a lack of respect for the Heat in these playoffs, just in general. I think. I feel like, and we'll get to this in a little bit, but I think a lot of it starts with Jimmy Butler because as someone
They're
watching,
an 8 seed though.
I get that, and I think yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's so impressive the fact, in truth, they're not really an 8 seed.
They aren't, but
They're a 7 to 6
Yeah.
seed in my eyes,
yeah.
but. I get what you mean though, how the play-in happened. They're an 8 seed. It is what it is. I just think, not that Jimmy Butler hasn't gotten enough credit, but I feel like a lot of people are just instead of acknowledging and enjoying how well and how fun it's been to watch him play in these playoffs, I think a lot of people are just saying, at least a lot of people that I've heard, are just more talking about the fact that this always happens in the playoffs. So he steps up in the playoffs and doesn't do much in the regular season, relatively speaking. And all this stuff. I've just been I've been very much enjoying watching Jimmy Butler in these playoffs. That's kind of how I looked at it, and the Heat in general, really, just because again, like you mentioned, the role players stepping up. That's also really fun when they're on. I don't know. I've really enjoyed watching Jimmy Butler and the boys ball in these playoffs.
Yeah, to me, when a player has arrived or is going to be one of the all-time greats when he retires is when people start taking him for granted. I feel like Jimmy Butler's playoff performances year in and year out have just been taken for granted. And it just sucks that a lot of people just don't want to appreciate it while it's here, but Jimmy Butler's playoff performance, even this year, has somehow been taken for granted. And some of these games that he's played is just unbelievable to watch. The fact that performance in Game 1 could possibly be taken for granted because the other playoff performances he's had earlier in the playoffs were crazy is should show you how great he has been this year.
We're already forgetting he almost dropped 60 in a playoff game.
Yeah.
Against the 1 seed.
Against a 1 seed.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's insane. You
20-plus points in the fourth, I think,
if someone
too.
like LeBron or KD did that, you know how many headlines would be out about that?
How many G words had be happening during
Exactly.
that? That's a lot. I just wanted to say G word.
It's a lot of
But
G
no,
words.
yeah, I do agree that Jimmy Butler has somehow been underappreciated in how well he's been playing, and that's kind of what I was saying. Is I don't know. I've just really enjoyed watching the Heat play this postseason.
Yeah.
Just in general.
The thing is, too, I feel like when you're talking about Jimmy Butler specifically, he's going to be one of those players that, when it's all said and done and maybe 10, 15 years from now, people that really didn't watch Jimmy Butler when it was going on aren't going to realize how good he was because in the regular season, he didn't really do anything. Same thing for Kawhi. But, yeah, he's one of the best playoff performances this league has ever seen, and we're just really taking it for granted. More so regarding the rest of the team, though. The things that I've been looking at the whole entire playoff run, as do other people have, were the 3-point shooting and the role player showing up for the Heat. Because those were two things that did not happen during the regular season. And this was another game where the Heat's 3-point shooting showed up, as it has throughout these playoffs. 16 of 31 from 3-point range for the Heat. And then the role player distribution, like both of you said, was great. The thing with the Celtics, though, that I was mad about, Jason Tatum cannot be shooting 17 shots. The Celtics are not winning any game when Jason Tatum is taking 17 shots and not playing that great. And also, it's not going to happen.
The number of possessions down the stretch where Jason Tatum did not touch the basketball.
And the possessions where he got the ball and he would turn it over.
Yes, that as well. But I think it's more the possessions of, like, and I don't like these in this NBA where it's like dribble down, maybe a pass, shoot, dribble, shoot. Like, that's not, especially in the playoffs, that's not how you should be playing down the stretch when you're down trying to get back. Like, I know you're in a rush, but, like, you got to get the ball to Jason Tatum. Even if he's turning it over, you got to get it to your best players. And I think, not that Jaylen Brown's a bad player. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think the amount of possessions that Jason Tatum did not touch the ball is inexcusable, in my opinion, just in general.
Thing is, can you blame them entirely, though? Because you had games in these playoffs like the one where Tatum had, like, 7 points on terrible splits, but his teammates had to show up for him. So, maybe they're just going down that road again because Tatum has had some inconsistencies this playoffs.
You can't play like that. He's whether he's not been performing well or not, he's your best player. You got to get him the ball.
I get the idea, like, in general. But
specifically, you got to get him the ball.
The specific case with these Celtics has been very interesting, how they've shown that they could win games even with, like, bad performances from the best player. So I don't know. It's just like, do you go down that typical route where it's like you got to keep giving them the opportunity, or do you, with the depth that they have, do you just say let's rely on the teammates? Because if there's anyone to get that done, it's the Celtics.
I think for me, it's maybe not as much of the Tatum thing. It's just there's not enough sets of hands touching the ball on each possession for the Celtics, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
the
Celtics
think the
are
ball
always
movement,
at their best when the
when
ball is moving.
For sure.
Which sounds so cliche, but
it's more what it is. But it's just like, it's Jason Tatum. If anyone's going to be touching the ball, it's got to be your best player. And not that Jaylen Brown's not, like, one of the better players in the NBA, but it's Jason Tatum. I don't care if he's 2 for 3 for 16 like your boy goes. I don't care if he's not shooting. Russ, I don't care if
he's so many boys.
Doc Rivers. I don't care if Jason Tatum's not shooting well.
Time out. No, what?
What? That's not true. I apologize. No, but so I don't. Point is, I don't care if Jason Tatum is not playing well. When the game comes down to it, when it comes down to when the game's on the line, I want the ball in his hands. If I'm the Celtics, I don't really like. He's your best player. That's how it is. It's playoffs. That's what it's about.
I will say this too, like, people should not overreact from this game one. I thought the Heat just played a really good game, which is not like hating at all at what the Heat did, but the Celtics played 3 good quarters. Like, it really just slipped away in that third quarter, I feel like, when they were up, and they should have just put their foot on the gas pedal and ran away with game one. But yeah, I'm not gonna overreact. I still do have Celtics in 7. I don't know about you guys.
I think I said the Heat just because I wanted to see a bubble rematch. I can't say I'm too confident in that pick because, yeah, like you said, you can't overreact from this game one. If anything, I'm like underreacting, if that's a thing. I'm still pretty worried about the Heat, and I don't.
Why?
Because I don't know. Maybe this is irrational, but like when you get like those really good runs like they had in the third quarter, for me, like, if I try to take the role of like a Heat fan, I just don't know if I'm confident in saying like that's sustainable. If that's how you're winning the games, relying on the Celtics blunders plus playing spectacularly, I don't know if that's gonna get it done in a 7-game series. That's good in a 1-game situation for sure. That's how they came out with a win. But the Celtics have shown that they can change game plan, boom, boom, hit whoever is making shots. And that's why I think I disagree with your point, Sammy, on the whole Tatum thing. I think any other team, that's true. Even if Tatum's on any other team, it's true. It's not something against Tatum personally, but just with these Celtics, there's so many different ways they can go about winning games, and they've showcased that I don't know if with all due respect, this 8-seeded Heat is going to really beat the Celtics.
I think the thing is, though, the way that Miami plays, I think you're not really giving them enough credit because they
Maybe
do play
I'm not.
they play the same style of basketball every single time.
You know what you're
Everything
getting every
goes,
night.
yeah, everything. They're gonna be sound. They're not gonna make any dumb mistakes. It's almost like the Patriots in football. You know what they're gonna do. They're gonna be sound.
Well.
They're not gonna do anything dumb. They're very disciplined and they're very, very well coached, right? And the thing with the Heat is, you know what you're getting every single night. You're gonna get a disciplined, smart basketball team that's not going to really make a lot of dumb plays. Their offense is going to run through Jimmy Butler, and they're just going to play a better game every single night. They're going to try to out-hustle you. They're going to outwork you. But more importantly, they're going to make less of those mistakes than the other team. And that's how they won Game 1. I feel like it's not really how spectacular they played. You can look at the box score and be like, oh, the role players played really well. Or, you know, like they shot really good from three-point range. But that's really what it comes down to in these road victories. It's just trying to capitalize off of mistakes and the home team giving the game away and the road team capitalizing on those mistakes.
You mentioned it really briefly, but I just want a quick sidebar. You mentioned coaching. I think it's Coach Spo has become one of the most underrated coaches in sports.
He doesn't have a coach of the year.
That's
doesn't?
mind-blowing to me.
I don't think
Because
so.
he has become, I think, in my opinion, he's probably the most underrated coach in sports. Like, I think once he's gone, it's going to be one of those where it's like, we're going to be like, wow, we didn't realize, like, how impressive and good he was as a coach.
I guess, like, LeBron's Heat were never really the 1 seed, were they? So I guess, like,
Yeah.
there were probably other coaches in the discussion, and then there was really no
And then
other
that-
opportunity.
That was when the
Nope.
Spurs were
He is
good,
not.
so Pop was probably
Exactly. So there's really no other opportunity
overshadowing.
in the regular season. Spo
That's
just
really-
showcases it in the playoffs.
That's what it comes down to. When you're as for those like the early 2010s when you're in a dogfight with the Spurs and Greg Popovich every year, you're gonna get overshadowed. That's just kind of what's as a coach of an opposing team.
And on top of that too, like not saying the Heat weren't extremely talented, but like those Spurs teams were really good too. And
For
the
sure.
fact that Spo held his own,
For sure.
like that has to be talked about too. Like Spo doesn't get enough credit at all.
Doc Rivers has a
Love you,
coach
Spo.
of the year, and Spo doesn't. I'm
That
sick.
is unbelievable.
I'm sick to my
Your
stomach.
boy.
Wait, when?
2000. I didn't even know he coached that long ago. I'm not even gonna lie. Was that like his first year as a coach?
But that's why he got a raspy voice.
Who was he coaching in 2000 that they got coach of the year?
Bro's voice has been gone since 2004.
Yeah. That is crazy. Doc Rivers also has like ridiculous winning percentages because he wins
In the
year in
regular
and year
season.
out in the regular season.
And then in the playoffs, he
And then,
doesn't.
yeah, he's put up stink. He's also had super talented teams. That's another thing with Spo though. Like
Real quick,
no
it was his
offense.
first year coaching with the Magic in
Interesting.
2000.
interesting. No, but the thing with Spo too is like no offense to Jimmy Butler, but like
Butler.
he hasn't had insanely talented teams since LeBron
Recently, no,
and D
yeah,
Wade.
for sure.
No, like and you know you know how the Heat are gonna play. Even those years after LeBron left, like with Wade, they were still like competing. They really came one game away from going to the conference finals with Wade. I don't know if everyone remembers that year, but the year they went
Yeah, after LeBron
7
left.
games against the Raptors, and Cleveland Cavaliers were
LeBronto.
very very close to playing D Wade in
Sorry,
the
Paul.
conference finals, but yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
We love you, Spo. I know you're not watching this, Spo, but we love you.
Today, we are going to introduce a new segment. I don't know if you guys know what the new segment is,
You told me.
But you told us.
Oh, we're supposed to act like we didn't know. What is
Oh,
the, what
wait,
is-
there's a new segment?
What is the new segment, Pavon?
What's the new segment? What's the new segment?
Go. Say it. You can't. Where's the.
yes and no. All right, we'll start with the yes. Eric, what are some things or one thing that makes you say yes?
The Denver Nuggets. I mean, is that a hard topic to pick? Like, Jokic outperforming a 40-point performance from Anthony Davis with like, because he had a 35-point ridiculous triple-double in a win. Crazy. You have Jamal Murray performing. Him and Jimmy Butler in terms of their like postseason performances as opposed to regular season, like that dichotomy is just so. I don't know. Like,
Bro grabbed his thesaurus.
I mean, I've been printing pages, so I know.
Too small.
It's not on there.
It's not on there, man.
But you get the idea.
Dichotomy.
Wow.
Imagine if this works.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, it's crazy. I'm so glad, even as a non-Denver Nuggets fan, not affiliated with them at all. I'm just so glad to see Jamal back and doing his thing. It's beautiful in the playoffs. Again, similarly to the Jimmy Butler thing, like I don't know where he ranks. It's just so confusing to me. But I mean, as long as he shows up when it matters, I guess that's all that matters. So that makes me say yes. Yes.
Thing that makes me say yes is Jimmy Butler. Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie to you. And Anthony Davis. Jimmy Butler and Anthony Davis.
Okay.
I feel like Anthony Davis has not been getting the respect he deserves. I know he's been really on-off, although I won't argue that because I feel like even though his scoring numbers haven't been there, what he does on the defensive side of the ball in the past 2 series, although he really hasn't done it this series yet, is something that people don't talk enough about. But yeah, Anthony Davis and Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler is an obvious one with the playoff performances, especially willing that 8th seed Heat team and showing that they're a really good team and that they can compete with the best of the best in the East. But yeah, Anthony Davis, I just can't say enough. People call him Anthony Day-to-Day Davis. They call him Anthony Street Clothes Davis. People don't talk about how good he was in the regular season this year too. Doesn't have an All-Star. Doesn't have an All-NBA. Doesn't have a.
What?
He wasn't on the All-Defense.
What?
Oh my goodness. He's disrespected. It's just simple. But Sammy, what makes you say no?
I'll tell you what makes me say no. Come on.
Jesus.
One thing that makes me say no. Sorry.
No.
Is, and I don't say this often, LeBron James. LeBron, you are 6'8", 250. Drive into the paint. You don't need to shoot 14 threes a game. You don't need to do that. Why are you shooting? You're not making. What's his playoff shooting percentage from 3?
Oh my God.
Bad.
Oh
It's
my
bad.
God.
Stop. You are shooting your team out of games. You're literally 250. You're the greatest player that's ever played the game of basketball. Why are you shooting 10 plus threes? Stop. I can't stand watching this dude chuck up, lay you know what threes, and they just constantly clank off. He's not even doing the thing with the spin, and he's not even looking at the ball. He's not even doing the lay fu threes. It's just bricks. It's lay brick. That's what it is. He's lay brick. He's so good at driving and all this other stuff. He is not. Why? Why is it? I don't understand why he's doing this. I get it. Deion Waiters. I'd rather go 0 for 30 than 0 for 6. Because if I went 0 for 6, that means I stop shooting. But stop shooting. Actually, you can shoot anything but inside the 3-point line. Shoot that. I don't care. But please, for the love of everything, stop. You don't need to be shooting these threes. Give it to Anthony Davis. He's got a better shot at making those threes than you do, LeBron. I promise you that. All right. Second thing that makes me say
no
is the technical fouls in the NBA. Now, Pavon, we talked about this a little bit because I was watching the Lakers-Nuggets game last night. Last night we recorded this. Pavon's walking away. I don't know why, but
I threw him out.
it was sorry. This has got to do with D'Angelo Russell in particular on was it Jamal Murray? He fouled?
Yeah.
Jamal Murray going up for a layup. I don't know if you're allowed to post a clip, Eric, but you can just show the replay. And what? D'Lo fouled Jamal Murray going up for a layup, which common foul. I agree, it was a foul.
He's ragdolling.
However, it was upon review. Get in your freaking chair.
He is sat.
I was flopping, man.
Okay, but LeBron. It was a common foul. It was a common foul from D'Angelo Russell. He hit his arm. I think he did a bit of a cock back and hit his arm. He was going for the ball. It is what it is. Upon further review.
A what?
What?
A what?
Cocked his arm back.
Okay.
You never. Get your head out of the gutter, dude.
It's a Bikram yoga stretch.
Bikram yoga.
Good
Oh,
job.
what?
Good
You stretched
job.
the hell out of that. Anyway, sorry.
Good job.
Common foul. It is what it is. They reviewed it. They took it to the booth. They reviewed it. I don't remember what referee this was last night, but this stooge reviewed it. He called it I believe he called it a flagrant one, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
I
Yeah,
don't
flagrant
understand why we're calling all of these basketball plays flagrant fouls. And I'm all for protecting the players, and I'm all for all this stuff. But what I'm not for is playing soft. And that is so soft. The league is so soft right now.
How soft, Sammy?
It is soft as
Pillow?
Charmin. Patrick Bev. Put up the Pat Bev photo right here. Actually, put up the Pat Bev photo right here of him with the Charmin. But, yes, so it just bugs me. And this goes back to round one with James Harden, and I don't remember who he punched. Or did he get punched in the nuts, or someone punched him in the nuts on accident?
James Harden?
Yeah, in the first round against the Nets. It happened to him. He got ejected, I believe.
Oh, that's right. Was
He-
it Macau?
It was not Macau. I would remember if it was Macau
Was
because then I would
it-
agree with it. I would agree with him getting
I
ejected
don't
if it was
remember.
Macau.
I don't
I
remember.
don't even remember either.
No, I actually remember the play. I just
But
don't remember
point
who it
is, it was ruled a common foul, I believe.
Yeah.
And then upon further review, it was only a flagrant one, it was a flagrant two, and he was ejected. Same thing.
Was it Claxton?
It might have been Claxton, actually.
Yeah.
You might be right. But point is, I don't understand why we're giving these basketball plays flagrants and ejecting people. Same thing happened with Dylan Brooks, although that was funny, so I don't have a problem with that one. But I don't understand why we are giving these basketball players, and very clearly basketball players with no further intent, like why we're punishing them so hard. Because what that's going to do is that's going to make these players scared to go for the ball, scared to play defense, which is already happening. That's why you're not seeing as much defense being played, among other reasons. I'm not going to get into that. But it just is so I just hate watching these players accidentally hit some guy in the junk and then get tossed. It is so annoying. I hate D'Lo getting a flagrant one for fouling Jamal Murray because he sat on the ground for like 3 more minutes. I just don't like it. I didn't like that, and I was gonna be as animated, but I honestly didn't have the energy to do it for that second one, because I respect people in the building that we are in, and I didn't want to interrupt any more people.
Fair
Yes,
Fair
that is what makes me say.
Yeah.
Personally.
With that being said, people get tossed, players get tossed, and we don't like it because we like to watch the players. All right, we like to watch the players. But with that being said,
We love basketball.
we'll pass the ball out to you guys. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, show us love
Upon further
because we
review,
love you guys
There
too.
was no technical foul. Come back.
And see y'all later.
Oh, see y'all.
Peace.